Hey everyone, GTL here. I actually created this video about a couple days ago, and since I created it, there's been a major update when it comes to the US liquor. The trade talks with the United States is going on right now, and apparently the US liquor ban, that's on the table right now. And it was reported by CBC last night that the liquor ban might be lifted if certain tariffs are removed. Now, the CBC report was talking about one of the stipulations is that the upcoming 50% tariffs, those have to be removed. But what about all the other tariffs that like from the beginning? I mean, those have to be dealt with as well. Anyways, I'm saving that for another video, and I want to wait till things are actually confirmed because CBC mentioned that this was just like insider information. But this latest update actually makes this video a lot more important because, like I'll say it in this video. I mean, eventually the U.S. liquor is going to be on the shelves, but it's going to be up to Canadians on whether or not we want to buy it. So I just wanted to give this quick update. And while you're watching this video, just remember that I was framing it that down the road, maybe a couple years from now, the liquor will be on the shelves. But it looks like it might possibly be a lot sooner. Possibly. So keep this in mind when you're watching my video. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so here's a question for everyone that just clicked on this video. When the alcohol, the US alcohol, eventually does get back on the shelves, will you buy it? Because a new Nanos poll came out, and the results, it actually kind of shocked me. Now, if you've been following my channel or you're in the GTL community, we already know our answers. We're not touching it. But does the rest of Canada and the average Canadian citizens, do they feel the same way as well? I'm going to show you later. Also, more firefighters from Mexico have arrived in British Columbia. And honestly, I can't express my sincere gratitude enough to Mexico and Australia for sending help. You know, we're in strange times right now where you would think your friends would help out. And we're now seeing who our real friends are. Our real friends are sending aid. The friend that we thought we had, they're sending letters, basically saying that we're ruining their summer, and also threatening us with tariffs because of wildfire smoke. I, for one, am never going to forget this, even in my old age. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more later on in the video. Now, before we start, it's been a while since I featured a petition on my channel, and there's another one that's out recently. And this one is petition E-7531. And the Coles notes for this one is basically to get Pete Hoekstra out of our country. And this one's only been out since July 21st, and it already has 25,000 signatures. So I think it's time for the GTL community to jump in as well and see if we can add another 5 or 10,000 signatures. I know a few other content creators are featuring this one as well, so I think it's time for the GTL community to jump in as well and join the party. Now, you might be asking, what happened to the previous Pete Hoekstra out petition? I believe it was discussed in the House of Commons, but I don't know if anything came out of it. But as a Canadian, I kind of feel like we need to keep the pressure on. So if there's another petition out, I'm going to be signing it, and I do encourage everybody else as well. We need to let our Canadian government know that we're actually serious about this. And right now, it's at 25,000 signatures. It just started, and it ends in November. Imagine if we can hit like 100,000 signatures from various content creators and other sources that are promoting this as well. So if you want to take a look at it, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. And remember this, if you're from Canada listening to this right now, any of my previous petitions that I've featured on my channel, we've had GTL community members from outside of Canada wishing that they could sign it, but they can't because they're not Canadian. So utilize what you're entitled to as a Canadian, because others around the world would do it if they could. And before we start, a shout out to everybody again who has subscribed to my Substack. Seems like it's really gaining momentum over the past couple days, and I'm getting a lot of subscribers and seeing a lot of good conversations going on in the comments. And oddly enough, my page actually looks like I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. So someone actually DM'd me and asked me how many staff I have and if whether or not I'm hiring. And I said, I'm just one person and I have a cat, so I'm not really hiring right now. But I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, I still don't know what I'm doing on Substack. But a thank you to everybody who has subscribed and restacked my articles. And a special thanks to everybody who has continued to support my Buy Me a Coffee page. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get into the video. Now, I do want to remind everybody why we are boycotting. Let me show you this.
Remember I used to say that tariffs are my favorite word. I love tariffs. They're my favorite word in the dictionary, tariff. I love tariffs, right? Because we've been screwed by tariffs used against us for years by China, by Japan, by South Korea, by Germany, by everybody, by Canada. Canada's nasty. They are. They're nasty. People think Canada, they're nasty. I love the people, but they're nasty. Nasty leadership.
I mean, I'm creating the video right now, and even with chipmunk mode, I still have to laugh. I mean, it makes it so much more easier to listen to this guy instead of like his regular voice. But here he is again, calling Canada nasty. and telling the lemmings that we've been screwing over the United States for years or decades, and he's here to save the day. And you know what's funny? You might not have heard it because I altered the voice, but there's like a lot of people actually clapping and cheering for what he's saying. Like, seriously, a room full of dumbasses who can't think for themselves. But what he said is on record, and we're going to remember this. And I also think that's why a lot of people are slowly starting to like reach their boiling point and say, okay, yeah, you know what? This is enough. So I want everybody to remember this as we move into the next report when it comes to the liquor boycott.
A new survey finds nearly 70% of Canadians say they are not likely to buy U.S. alcohol even if it were to be restored on liquor store shelves. CTV's Renee Rogers is following the story and joins us live with more. Thank you, Renee, for joining us. Tell us why so many provinces decided to stop stocking American booze.
Hi, Arda. Yep, this all started back in March 2025, and Ontarians will likely remember that Ontario Premier Doug Ford was one of the leads on this after Donald Trump came into office, began threatening Canada with tariffs, and then also his 51st state rhetoric.
Now, I don't know who was the lead or which province started first. I mean, I think it all kind of happened all within a week. But there's always been like this stigma in the United States that the US government is stopping their citizens from buying our precious alcohol. I mean, look, take a look at this.
Not negatively affect anyone. It affects the Canadian side, it affects the Vermont side. So we're kind of there now of they are out of product. They have customers up there who may want it, but they can't get it. And they really have no incentive to buy it because the retailers are not selling American products.
Now, do you think it ever occurred to this guy that maybe Canadians actually don't want his products? And that we are aligned with our government? Probably not. Then you get this idiot here who called us boneheaded for removing their alcohol from our shelves and basically insinuating that the Canadian government is depriving Canadians of their precious alcohol. Like, seriously, screw your alcohol. We don't want it.
Many premiers decided to stop purchasing and distributing U.S. booze. And at the time, Canadians were largely on board. Well, now, in the wake of the latest 50% tariff threat on certain Canadian goods set to take effect later this month, it seems that sentiment is only increasing. New Nanos polling done between July 28th and 30th, so after that 50% threat, it's showing us that almost 3/4 of Canadians are having serious doubts about whether they would buy American booze if it were to come back on store shelves. So 69% saying they are unlikely and 5% saying they are somewhat unlikely to do so. So that adds up to a total of 74%, up by 4% from last year.
So almost 74% of Canadians will not buy U.S. alcohol when it is put back on the shelves. Now, I know it's just a poll, but that sentiment right there, 74% is pretty big. And I have to think, like, all of these US distillers and wineries and breweries, they think the magic pill is just putting the alcohol back on the shelves. And once it's back on the shelves, we're going to buy it all up. Well, we've already had a taste of that. Not Manitoba. Saskatchewan and Alberta. They already have the US liquor back on the shelves. And it's been on the shelves for a while. But we've seen various reports that the alcohol in Alberta and Saskatchewan, the US alcohol, is not selling. And let's not forget the provinces in Eastern Canada and the Maritimes. They put the alcohol back on their shelves because it was expiring. And all of the sales from the proceeds, they go to charity, I believe. But the point is, there is US alcohol on the shelves right now in certain provinces. And are they selling? No, not to the standard that the United States wants it to be. So when the alcohol actually eventually goes back on the shelves, let's say Taco Tuesday's gone, maybe he's 6 feet under, and we have a new Democratic president in, and, you know, they make a deal, they apologize, whatever. The alcohol is back on the shelves. If they do not continue to sell, what do you think the United States is going to say? I'm going to bet that Chris Wonger and all these distilleries are going to blame it on our Canadian government, saying that they deprived the Canadian citizens so long that they don't want the alcohol anymore. That is going to be my bet on what happens. I mean, I like my odds on that one. But the United States, they just can't get it through their head that we really don't want your alcohol anymore.
Now, things do get interesting when you break it down geographically. It seems British Columbians are the most unlikely to buy U.S. booze, but that is followed by Ontario and then Quebec. So all three provinces where U.S. booze bans are in place. And we know that the Trump administration has not been happy about these bans, which it calls unfair. And it has most recently used it as a partial justification for those 50% tariffs set to take effect on August 9th. 19th. And it's widely thought that the very fact that this is causing such a backlash with the Trump administration can be taken as an indication that it is taking notice of the effect it is having on the American economy. Spirit and winemakers in the U.S. say this has been absolutely devastating to their bottom lines. A lot of premiers, including Ontario Premier Doug Ford, saying that he is refusing to back down until some sort of deal with the U.S. on trade can be struck.
I don't think a deal is going to be made until Taco Tuesday's out of the office. But when she mentioned that this has been absolutely devastating to the U.S. liquor industry, does anybody watching this video actually care? Because I don't. I'm not afraid to say it. We know the bourbon industry is very heavy in, where's it, Kentucky or Tennessee? One of those two, which is also very red states. So I don't have any sympathy for them. But in the early days, I kind of had sympathy for, like, say, California wine and, the industries there. But the more and more I started doing research, and the more I started to see the wine vineyards, even in blue states, making it about themselves and only caring about themselves and not worrying about, like, hey, what is our government actually doing to our friends? And the more I started seeing that, the more I started realizing, you know what, red or blue, if you're in the liquor industry, I mean, you're on your own. So let me know what you think of this latest poll suggesting that 74% of Canadians will continue to not buy U.S. liquor once it's back on the shelves. For me, I think that's a great sign. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Now, the last thing I want to talk about are the BC wildfires that are happening right now. I know the topics of my videos are kind of like swinging all over the place, but I'm only doing one video a day these days, and to be honest, it's actually really nice. So I kind of have to cram everything into one video. But I'm set to come home for a visit towards the end of the month, and the wildfire season, I'm sure it's still going to be around. And the wildfire smoke, depending on where I'm going, I'm not going to complain about it, even if it is coming from Washington State, because I'm not an asshole like some of our neighbors down south. But I am very grateful for Australia and Mexico for sending help, because we're in the beginning of August right now, and more wildfires are going to pop up. I mean, one popped up in the Metro Vancouver area, in Belcara Regional Park, which I'm very familiar with. So any help that Canada can get, I'm going to acknowledge it and thank them for it. So let's get started with this video.
Reinforcements marching in to help fight more than 100 wildfires in BC.
It's my first time here in Canada. I am glad to be here to bring some help.
BC's premier welcomed them at the start of what's expected to be a challenging month.
They'll be providing relief to frontline BC Wildfire Service firefighters so they can catch their breath and recover.
To this firefighter here, whose first time to Canada is helping us out, I want to thank you. I don't know who you are, but thank you. And you don't have to worry. We don't have ICE in Canada, so you're not going to be arrested while you're, like, helping us out. But if you went to Washington State, that might be a different story. I mean, we all remember what happened last year when ICE actually went out to the forest to, like, arrest people. Like seriously. So you don't have to worry about that happening in Canada. And thanks again for helping.
These firefighters will likely be deployed to the Brunswick complex in the Fraser Canyon. Now, to the northeast in the Okanagan, the Bradley Creek and Quilpitick Creek fires continue to burn out of control, forcing more evacuations on Thursday. Thousands more have been displaced for days.
By the time I got home, police were already banging on doors and telling people, you gotta go. And you look down the road to the lake, and the flames are probably 200 feet high. Some of the roads are getting open now. So.
William Mundell and Diane Hamilton have been living out of this trailer since their evacuation.
I'm glad to hear that my home is still standing, and just because so many others aren't. And it's going to make me cry. It's just so sad for them.
Now, no matter what side of the border of wildfire is on, I mean, people are going to lose their homes, and it's a sad thing. And like I said in my previous video I did a few days ago, these times should be when friends come together to help each other out and share our resources to get rid of these fires. But it didn't happen. And I'm still choked about it. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. It really bothers me. Because the United States, they made it political. And it's not just their government. Thousands of their citizens, if not millions of their citizens, complain about our wildfire smoke, saying that we're ruining their summer, or Canada, you got to get your shit together, or rake the forest. Like dumb shit like that. I mean, is this how it's going to be with the United States moving forward? Every summer we're going to have this problem with them? And it's not going to stop when Taco Tuesday's gone. We'll have a Democratic president in office. Not we, not my country. But they'll have a Democratic president in the office. And we're still going to hear from these idiot MAGA people saying that we're ruining their summer. What I'm trying to emphasize right now is that we've heard things that we cannot unhear. And things have been said south of the border that are going to continue. And I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to drive the point right now that things aren't going to magically get back to normal once Taco Tuesday is gone. There's been too much damage. And it's unfortunate that people have had to lose their homes in order for the true colors of the United States to come out.
The wildfire fight has also reached Metro Vancouver. A fire broke out Wednesday, an hour from the city center.
I didn't actually think that it would ever come to this. So yeah, it is very disheartening and scary.
The impact of fires can be seen and smelled across swaths of the province. Smoke and smog has made the air dangerous.
Even for healthy people, this can create some short and long-term complications to your health.
Fire activity is expected to increase over the weekend due to hot and dry conditions. More firefighters from Mexico, Australia, and New Zealand are expected to arrive in the next few days.
So, to anybody listening from Mexico, New Zealand, or Australia right now, I want to thank you and your governments for being a friend to Canada. And if the situations were reversed, you know our countries would help each other out. Because that's what friends are supposed to do. And it's unfortunate our next door neighbor doesn't know that. Closing out this video, I thought today's background would be suitable for this video. And it comes from Storms of Fate from our Discord server. And this photo was taken in Vernon, British Columbia, which currently has a major wildfire right near the city. I'm not sure what the smoke situation is there, but I can't imagine it would be good. But this is a great photo of the Okanagan Lake when there is no smoke and fire. If you haven't been to the interior of BC, I would highly recommend it. So thank you Storms of Fate for posting this in the Discord server. Now, for anybody not from British Columbia and wondering why the co-host is riding on like a dragon, that's the Ogopogo. And it's been a local provincial legend that there's a Loch Ness monster, an Ogopogo, that's living in the Okanagan Lake. And many people have claimed to see it all the way up from Vernon, all the way down to like Penticton. Now, is it real or not? I have no idea. I mean, it's a local legend, I guess. But if it is real, maybe you can help me find my wallet that I lost when I was a kid. My wallet's either going to be at the bottom of the Okanagan Lake or in the channel that connects Okanagan Lake to Skaha Lake. But yeah, that's the reason why the co-host is riding on top of what looks like a dragon. Alright everyone, that's all I got for this video here. I hope everybody got some value out of this video, and if you did, and you want to support my channel, consider checking out my Substack page as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.